Hello and welcome into the PHNX Cardinals halftime show. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Bo Brock. Damien Anderson, Frank Sanders in the house. Cardinals losing by 1 at Atlanta, 14-13. Bo, we saw, I think, some highlights in Trey McBride's first touchdown, and we saw some lowlights that continued, let's call it deterioration of this roster, given all the injuries suffered by the Cardinals.
Yeah, they put the graphic up on the broadcast, and it's pretty absurd how many guys are out.
Yeah.
Big impact makers for this team, and that's on full display. I mean, even their long snappers out, and you saw that was the big mistake in the first half that kind of turned this thing around and looked like Cardinals and David Blau might be going into the locker room with a lead. Not so fast. Your long snapper doesn't pick up his blocking assignment and puts Desmond Ridder and crew in striking distance, and they take advantage of it. And look, if you're a Cardinals fan, I think this is what you want to see. You want to see Trey McBride play well. You want to see some guys on the defense that we've been waiting to see play well, and then not win football.
I mean, but I was going to say, Bo, but do you though? You know,
Right.
But do you? But I mean, I got to acknowledge the chat. David Blau is out there dealing, you know, fighting an undrafted free agent anytime that you get an opportunity to showcase your skills against, you know, one of those 32 teams and go out there and play well. You got to commend the kid for going out there and taking advantage of the moment. You know, he's spraying the ball around. You know, and the offense looks in rhythm. I mean, they went under center, you know, did some things in pistol. You've seen the guys fight, but I think it goes back. And you're happy with their performance, and you want them to keep it close. But I think that everyone's looking at the big picture of things and the impact, Johnny, of what this game can be.
Yeah, and Frank, we talk about it. You know, the Cardinals' second half adjustments under Kliff Kingsbury have not been good. Bo, what'd you tell me before the show? 4 times the last 4 games they've led at the half. They've lost all 4 of those games, Frank.
Well, we're not leading right now, so that gives us a better.
Yeah,
The
they got
stats-
to change
the stats
it
roll.
around. They got to be
Flip the
trailing.
script.
That's
That's
more in
right.
our favor right now. Look, they're fighting.
It's that Johnny's little brother.
Right, they're fighting, and I think you got to be proud of that from a Cardinal standpoint. That the guys are not quitting.
Yeah.
David Blau is definitely running the offense. You're absolutely right, Da. It's consistent for what it could be, and it's definitely they're out there fighting and giving themselves a chance. I got no complaints on what I'm seeing right now. I hope these guys come out and you know and continually fight. You're absolutely right. There are a lot of injuries, man. So this is the part of the game that we haven't seen a lot of second half adjustments being made that have been proper. That's been one of our downfalls offensively and defensively, but also the guys got to want to fight 4 quarters of football. This is when the leadership of some of the veterans got to step up and really try to get these young guys, man, to play 4 quarters of football.
Trey McBride threw 4 catches, 34 yards, a touchdown. You know, Bo, you and I were joking around like maybe this is the first Cardinal tight end to get over 100 yards. We've been asking a lot since, the early 90s. But I think that is the biggest takeaway for me is the silver lining to Zach Ertz's injury, if there is any, is that Trey McBride has gotten vital snaps for this team. And this is not some throwaway draft pick. We remember where we were when we drafted him that night, what a surprise it was. Right? And then now you talk
Frank
about
hated it.
Yeah, Frank didn't like it. I enjoyed it because I thought he was just going to be the icing, the cherry on top of what was going to be a fantastic offense. Turns out he is the offense now in Week 17. Bo, what have you seen from number 85, and what do you expect him being able to build off of into next year?
I mean, you're seeing him get open, right?
Yeah.
Even with not having a full strength wide receiver core, you're seeing a guy find some soft spots in the defense. You saw them not even kind of acknowledge him on that touchdown play. And just the athleticism, right? I mean, he kind of looks like a running back carrying that ball.
Bo, I like him because he's catching the football.
Yeah.
The earlier part of the year, we saw him down at the line of scrimmage, blocking. And I don't know where you guys are from, but if you draft a guy in the second round, it's your first pick of the draft, and you're using him for blocking, I mean, that's more. You need more ROI on that investment. So to see him in the game plan, impacting plays, breaking tackles, and I mean, from Hard Knocks, I mean, the dude's just he seems like a good guy that loves playing football and just wants to be out in the field. So kudos to all the guys making plays. And how about Greg Dortz? I don't know did he get over? Or is he close to getting 50 catches for the year? You know what I mean? And a guy that has been at times just carved out of the schematic game plan, and for him to just continue to show up, there's those little, Frank, as you know, I mean, you are obviously a draft pick, but for a guy like me being undrafted, there's those little, victories that you have, doing your job, making plays when your number's called and showing up. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. But I think as a fan, you also understand the long-term impact of what can happen come draft time.
We knew this was going to be a tough game to win or lose for the Cardinals, as crazy as that sounds. Like, the Falcons are not a good team, as we've seen. They're 5-10 for a reason, right? They're starting a rookie quarterback. The roster's depleted. There's not a lot of fans at the Georgia Dome right now. So if I'm Kliff Kingsbury, I'm sure I'm saying this is a winnable game for us. Here's what I will say for anybody hoping for a loss from the Arizona Cardinals. If Atlanta is smart and they make adjustments, they will run the ball directly up the middle on Arizona. The Cardinals cannot stop that. Isaiah Simmons, and Zaven Collins already banged up, having to leave this game temporarily. Like Fotu, and company up front. J.J. Watt's been relatively quiet.
Johnny, it sounds like you're giving them a game plan.
I'm not saying anything,
game,
but Frank, it just feels like Atlanta.
Sounds like Atlanta, you better win.
If they don't get cute, it feels like this is just a game where Arizona, it'll be difficult for them to win.
Look, we saw Denver do the same thing. Denver came down in the second half and just basically got strong. The 49ers did the same thing in the second half. They just got physical and got strong versus our guys, and we didn't have a whole bunch of rotation. You're absolutely right. That is the game plan. That has been the game plan for the last couple of weeks versus the Arizona Cardinals defense. And then you bend don't break, and you allow the offense to make mistakes. And that's what other teams have been against us. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, man. I'm actually hoping that these guys go out and fight. Again, no matter what happens and what we're talking about, discussing, and there's two sides of this. Yeah. There's the on the field and the future expectations of what we want. But then when you're on the field, you expect to win because you're competing, and you're competing against a competitor. And hopefully these guys,
it's a resume.
Your
resume out there.
Look, you don't want to get your ass kicked,
right?
No,
that's you get hurt too if you're not playing 100%.
You don't want no bad film,
right?
You don't want no bad film because that's your reputation, that's your potential opportunities with another team. You just never know in this game who's going to be coaching and what opportunities.
I think a lot like Denver, this game. It's almost an even playing field as far as the lack of talent on both teams. And I think that's continually an indictment on this coaching staff and their inability. If they come out flat again with a bat and didn't make the correct adjustments, and that the Atlanta's got Johnny being piped into their locker room and their game planning exactly like he said, that's going to be a tough look for VJ and Kliff Kingsbury. And we'll see. Obviously we're going to have a lot of conversations about this coaching staff, but 46 catches right now for Dortch. He's got 2 today, and then we've got 4 straight games of Trey McBride with 3 or more catches.
That's positive.
That is positive. Yeah. Anything from the defensive side that you guys like? We're seeing some double teams for JJ. He's kind of been a non-factor. You hold your breath a couple times, seeing Zaven go down, seeing Isaiah go down. Jalen Thompson's got a lot of tackles because they're not able to slow down at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. I didn't expect Algier to look like an all-pro. Mm-hmm. And even with a decimated front defensive line, but having Lecky Fotu, they've gotten turnovers. They've been opportunistic and got the ball back for the offense, and the offense has scored. But with the secondary being depleted and they're only giving up, they haven't really been making a lot of damage passing the football. It's mostly been running, and obviously that's been a concern, for the Arizona Cardinals defense. But they're fighting. Guys are showing up. They're being opportunistic at times, and they're not allowing the big plays and giving them. They're all playing complementary football. You don't want to have that in Frank in terms of the special teams. You never want to have that, a new guy getting put in, but they're playing complementary football, giving the offense opportunities.
They really are. At the end of the day, if you're Atlanta, you already know that the number one guy on our defense is J.J. Watt. Mm-hmm. And how do you stop him? You got to double team him. So they're double teaming him. They're running toward him, or they're running backside with and that's what you're supposed to do. No matter what's taking place, offensive, defensive, he's the number one guy. You find a way to stop that pass rush, and he could cause problems. But at the end of the day, this is a good game. Look, it's 100. The Cardinals got 169 total yards offense, and the Falcons got 156. The game is close. It's what we thought it would be. It's not pretty. It's not either way. It's going back and forth.
Both teams have made mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like 6-3.
Two ugly teams trying to pull out a win.
It's not 6-6 like
it's
it was
entertaining.
We got a block punt. We got a fumble in the red zone. I think the turnover margin by that account is even.
Right.
But here's what I will say is that the Kliff Kingsbury we've seen in the third and fourth quarter has been bad. And you needed to build up, I would imagine, some equity in the form of maybe a double-digit lead to feel comfortable with him. Arthur Smith has something to coach for and play for. You're trying to convince ownership, like, this is working. You can see the vision long-term. Look what I'm doing with Desmond Ridder. Whereas Kliff, if I'm Kliff Kingsbury, I'm emptying everything. I'm doing my mixed bag of tricks. I'm doing onsides. I'm trying to convert fake punts. You're trying to save your job and get a win if it's even obtainable to save at this point.
Scoreboard watching out there, obviously, with the draft status. Nothing locked in yet. You've got Denver. They were leading that most of the first half, and then Patrick Mahomes does his thing. In case he's up 13-10, you got the Bears. They're a no-show, and Justin Fields unfortunately probably not going to play the rest of the game, and Detroit's winning by 14, 24, 10. There's a couple teams that are ahead of you as far as the draft goes. It's unfortunate, but I mean, look, if we're looking at this Cardinals team, as far as if they want to move up those draft boards or they want to keep pace with them, they have to lose this game. I'm just going to ask those all 80-plus people watching, if you want the Cards to continue to trail in this game till the final whistle, hit that like button. You want to keep that draft stock where it is right now. Keep it at least the status quo.
Yep, we're back immediately following the conclusion of Cardinals at Falcons, the PHNX postgame show. You better be there.